Welcome to the Biz and Mayhem podcast, where we talk about the mayhem in our lives and how to get ahead in business and your career. This is Chris Batchelor, and I'm here with my co-host, Tara Parker. Let's get started. Well, everyone, welcome to another episode of the Biz and Mayhem podcast. This is season 1, episode 17, and a very special episode because it's the first time that we are live streaming on Facebook. So welcome to this very special episode for us. How are you doing tonight, Tara?
I am awesome, Chris. How are you doing?
I am just peachy keen. We still don't have a president.
We
have a president. We just don't know who the next one is, right?
It depends on who you are. If you're Republican, you still have a president. If you're Democrat, you have a new president. How about that?
Hashtag not my president, still not my president.
Hashtag I don't know. I don't know what's happening. I know it's not my problem yet, is it?
It is a crazy, crazy times.
It's, it feels like there's we have a president. We have a guy. We got a guy. But we don't know who the next guy is, but it's like there all of a sudden after an election, there's no such thing as a president until the inauguration. I'm like, no, we still have a president. Like he's still working. He still works for us. This is still a thing, folks. But whatever. We're just the voters. We don't have a say-so in it. So whatever.
As the recount continues, let's go to the newsroom. This is the newsroom. All right, so first up, you've got a article here on hot mic bloopers from the Hill. What's this all about?
So I don't know if I hadn't seen this. I caught this in looking for stuff, but apparently there was a hot mic situation, and those are always fun, especially when you're a reporter and the cancel culture is a thing now. So apparently, and I need to catch the names again, but somebody dropped the S-bomb and the F-bomb.
Together?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That takes talent.
He didn't know. Apparently, he didn't know he was still rolling hot. He thought he was off the mic, but apparently not. And if you look at the article, God dare I say it? Where is it? Where's the damn quote? Damn it! Where's it at? So what's great about this, folks, is we can curse on our show, and there ain't nobody to regulate us.
Marked explicit.
But if you're on a major broadcast on TV, you have some standards despite fake news.
They cannot swear.
They can't swear, but you can lie.
They can lie, but they can't swear.
They can lie.
Yeah.
According to resources, so apparently he thought he was off the air, and they're claiming technical difficulties, and he said, "Oh, crap, F-bomb." And so it was Delanian is the dude, and Melvin is like, "Oh, we lost him for a second. Technical difficulty. We'll come right back to him." It's like, we heard that. We heard that.
The editors weren't quite quick enough there in the switching room.
They don't have enough of a delay, I guess. Technology's not what you think it is. So.
And this is on MSNBC, right?
Yeah, I think it was an NBC reporter. He apologized for the hot mic moment. So yeah, it was on MSNBC is where if you go to the link, and we can post those clips later, but you can also just Google reporter swears on national TV and it pops up because that's how I found it. And so you can see and I didn't listen to the clip because I was at work, and it's probably a not safe for work type of clip. And they've probably already blipped it out of the clip. Unfortunately, you'll probably go to YouTube. But I just thought that was so funny amidst all of the election and crap and things that go on. It's like, this is hilarious. Like this should be a career fail, but it's not going to make career fail because this guy's not going to go down for it because cancel culture loves apologies. I disagree with most apologies, but
you can apologize and everything is
it's just fine. It's just great. It's fine. So
what's next for him? Is he going to be the news anchor?
He's getting a promotion.
He's getting a promotion here.
Well, he went on to Twitter to say, and his name is Ken, and I'm going to jack up his name, and we've had a show on names before, so if you have a thing for names, you can get ticked off of me at another time. But it says, Ken Delanian, and so sorry for the profanity I used on air last hour. I was experiencing some technical difficulties and mistakenly hung up on the control room, though my mic was still on. Perils of playing producer, cameraman, and tech support all at the same time from home. Hashtag 2020. Like, dude, just own it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, come on. I'm so
And in
busy.
other news, a reporter was actually human and made a mistake.
Yes.
Back to you, Bob.
Oh my gosh. I thought I need upside down smiley face emoji.
Oh,
Just because
heart emoji.
I'm so embarrassed.
Do
Whatever.
you have CarPlay for Apple
No,
CarPlay?
no, I don't have that smart of a car, dude. Like,
Okay, so if you have Apple CarPlay and somebody sends you a text message with emojis, because my daughter and I were driving and I was texting my mom and I was using CarPlay, which is pretty cool because you can say, "Hey Siri, text so and so," and it'll record
right.
you and then read it back what it decoded you. There's Siri.
Hi Siri, welcome to the show.
Bye. Just set
Rejection.
all the iPhones off. Anyhow, so I said hi, lady in the tube, and my message, and I sent it to my mom, and my mom messaged back, and she messaged back with a whole bunch of emojis, right? So
Oh
now my
no.
car is for 5 minutes going on heart emoji, smiley emoji, huggy emoji, and so my daughter's back at there in the back seat, and she is just cracking up. She thought this was the best thing ever. So the whole rest of the night, I made sure I added verbal emojis every time I was talking to her.
That's awesome.
So yeah, but
That
try
makes
that if
everything better. That's
yeah,
why.
try
Yeah,
that if you've
emoji.
got CarPlay.
I'll
Sending
have to.
emojis and
I know it won't do it on my car. I mean, my car will read text messages, but I'm pretty sure it's not going to go to that level of customer
no,
satisfaction for me.
it goes right down to the heart emoji, smiley emoji, huggy
Oh, how
emoji.
funny.
Yeah,
That is awesome.
and you got
Oh
some
my
more
gosh.
bloopers in here.
I
That's blooper
do.
night?
I know. I found something else and I thought, well, this is fun too. So the next one I found, let me see if I can bring it up. If my little program here will work for me. Um, so a reporter who was, I think this was on Fox News. If you want to pull up the link, Chris, I'm pretty sure it was on Fox News. Sandra Smith was being interviewed by another reporter, and Sandra Smith is going on about the election issues, and it's not official, it's not actually been called, it's not,
Mm-hmm.
it's and it truly is not technically official yet, the whole election
Yeah, right.
thingamajigger that we did last week. It's not done deal because of the lawsuits. And so there's the reporter is sitting there kind of going through her notes, not realizing the world around her or
Mm-hmm.
that the camera's still on her. And so as Sandra Smith is going on, the reporter's like, we've called it. Like, what is happening? The
Mm-hmm.
election's done. And he just, that little mean girl attitude kind of took over. She didn't know she was still on air. And I'm just sitting here laughing and thought, oh, that is awesome. It's,
Which, anybody that's around cameras and any sort of live production, like we're doing now, we're doing a live production now. I mean,
yeah.
you just assume the camera is on, you assume the mic is on, and you assume you are going out to the world there. But, I guess if you're doing this stuff
Mm-hmm.
day in and day out, it's easy to get comfortable around it, right?
Or just
And
get
sort of
absent-minded,
forget.
take it for
Yeah.
granted. I mean, and that's what kind of what I'm seeing happen. These people aren't realizing, and like you
Mm-hmm.
said, you would just assume you're hot, you're
Yeah.
live, you're on, and you mind your manners, especially when there are fines that are attached to some of these
Mm-hmm.
bloopers that occur. Like curse
Yeah.
words will get you fined as a broadcasting station, excuse me, and it's harsh fines.
Mm-hmm.
I know locally we had a gal that I think she dropped. I think she used the Lord's name in vain. I think she said something like Jesus Christ or something. If she got the town Selena wrong, she called it Salina. I mean, she did some sort of mistake like that, and she just kind of threw a big fit. And they had to
Yeah.
fire her, and they got fined at whatever station it was
Wow.
here in Wichita. So gotta be careful.
You got to be careful,
But it's
you
not
know.
that doesn't apply to cancel culture though. You can't
Well,
just
I think it's a good reminder though about all forms of communication, right? I mean,
right.
email, you can write out an email and send it by accident, that'll go around like wildfire, and
Always
we've
start a new email.
yeah, and it's always been said, right? If you have email, then assume it's like posted on the bulletin board in the
Hmm.
office because everybody's going to get to see it, and
At some
somebody
point,
could
yeah.
pick that piece of paper up and walk out of the office
Hmm.
with it. Now it's public, so I think it's just a good reminder that any communication means that you use today, whether it's text messaging, emails, videos that you put on
Yes.
Facebook, stuff you put on your social media. I mean, it's broadcast to a much wider audience than it ever was before.
Yeah, and it just yeah. Yes. In fact, we just had some training on this at my job, and they're like, if you're ticked off, go ahead and write the email, but don't put anything in the to or BCC or
Mm-hmm.
CC field. Leave it all blank and then go back and reread it. Now, do people do that? Clearly not. They don't
Yeah,
even watch what they're doing on air. But
the
I
best
thought this was
ones, the
fun.
best ones by far, are when you write out like 3 paragraphs and then you just delete it all and write okay.
Yeah.
Those are the best ones in my book.
Those are the ones you do often, aren't they?
Those are the ones when you have demonstrated you have self-control. But the sad thing is
Yes.
nobody ever really sees that. So you have to pat
No,
yourself on
it's
the back if you're able to do that.
yeah, I got to be modest like that, I suppose.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to hear about it from me at some point, so it's just a matter of who. That's where you come into play normally. To where I call
True.
Chris up. I am so ticked off, but I get the same return. It's a give and take. It
All
works.
right, tell me about Whoopi Goldberg here.
Oh, I had to bring this up. I had some words on this one. So, obviously, I mean, election's a big thing. I mean, we've clearly covered this already in the short amount of time we've been on the air. And so, Whoopi, I had seen this over and over again. I thought, surely not. You know, you see all the like the quotes or the paraphrasing quotes.
Right.
Nope, there's video straight up. She was going off on basically anybody who voted in the opposite direction of her, and she voted Democrat. I mean, and so she went
Big
on
surprise
her
there,
show.
right?
Yeah, I know, right?
Well,
And
she's
that's
part of
fine.
that View, right?
That's
The View show. That's
yeah, that show. I was when I that show came on over like 20 years ago or something.
it should be
It's
renamed because it should be One View, not
right.
The View.
Yeah. Yes.
It's
Yes.
just
I
Our
agree.
View,
Right.
right?
Our view. So when this show came out, I remember when they were advertising it. I was pregnant with my first son. He's 20, so that gives you
Right.
some a timeline to work off of. And I thought, man, this isn't going to be good. This is going to go down one of those really hard-sided, one-viewed type of hills. And I don't want to throw any labels out there, but everybody knows where I'm going with that. And it has gone down that road. It's very left-wing, very left-leaning. It's just I don't appreciate it at all. So I don't watch. I stopped watching it years and years and years ago. I tried to get into it, doesn't matter. So Whoopi was having a fit, and she was basically saying, "You can just suck it up since your guy didn't win. We had to suck it up 4 years ago. You guys can suck it up." I was like, I don't think that actually happened. So she says this, and this I found this particular link from The Hill, and they quoted her. They said that to all those people who don't believe that Americans actually got out and voted, let me say this to you. And she went on to say, when you know who was elected 4 years ago, Hillary Clinton didn't say, hey, wait a minute, this doesn't feel right. Stop the count. She didn't say, this doesn't feel right. I'm not going for it. She didn't say any of that. So all of you can suck it up like we sucked it up. And it's like, wait a second here. Didn't you have like 3 different investigations to Russian collusion regarding that very election you just referenced? Did you not try to impeach the president? Did you not label him everything in the book but a nice white man?
Yeah.
It's like, you guys, nobody sucked this up. There's been 4 years of media hell regarding Trump, the bad orange guy. And, it's like, you've got to be kidding me, right? Do you not?
Yeah.
It's like, nope. It's personally sucking it up. I don't care. Whoever won, I want to win with integrity and respect of the process.
Yeah.
If Biden won fair and square, Biden won fair and square. But if we're cheating some stuff out, that makes me question the process. And it makes me, it really does draw into not just this particular part of the process, but years worth of it. Because now we're starting to backtrack on some stuff. But I thought, nobody sucked this up 4 years ago. Nobody did.
What bothers me the most about this is it doesn't start off with a culture of inclusion, right? It just says, well, we won, so shut up, and we're going to do whatever we want to now.
But let's unite, Biden says.
Unite.
Let's unite. Now we can unite.
And you're bad if you don't want to come and have our views, right? And it's just no dialogue anymore, right? It's I'm going to do what I want, and I think this is very indicative of our culture now, right? Because people are just like, I'm selfish. This is what I want. This is what's good for me. And if it works for you, great. If it doesn't, then you just need to suck it up.
Well, we've gotten such a culture of victimization. Like, it's cool to be a victim, and if you're a victim, that's great. And if you're a narcissist, that works even better in this particular culture right now.
Right.
Which is really hard for me to wrap my brain around that, given some of my experience with people who have narcissistic coping mechanisms. So to me, it's like, you got to suck it up, huh? Why don't you be the example of what you want us to be? And then we'll mirror that. But I just thought, I used to be a big fan of Whoopi Goldberg, huge fan. I love her movies. I can't name but one of them. Unfortunately, I'm such a big fan. I can only name one at the top of my head. But
yeah,
it's really. She can have her views, and that's great. But show some respect to both sides. Be okay that if your guy didn't win 4 years ago, okay, he didn't win 4 years ago. Maybe our guy didn't win this year. That's fine. But you don't, which group do you see out there looting and rioting and causing a bunch of economical issues right now?
Right.
So it's really hard to get behind some of this rhetoric that's coming out there now because y'all were screaming at the sky 4 years ago. But we have to suck it up. So I'm not saying very many popular things to some listeners out there, and that's okay. But I thought, this is a fun subject to talk about. So suck it up, Buttercup, Chris. Just saying.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
Suck it up.
Yeah, I think this is just typical, though. I think this is a do as I say, not as I do kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they certainly, on The View, particularly, Whoopi Goldberg was not inclusive, and I'll admit I haven't watched really many of their shows, but I've seen some of the clips, and I can tell you if you didn't have their liberal views, then you were crap, and you were evil, and they were going to tell you so in front of all the people on TV,
like shaming. Shaming, which you're not supposed to do, but they shamed you.
Yep, that's exactly what they were going to do. So
it's one of the reasons why most of those shows like that, and it sounds terrible because I'm a woman. These are women-centered shows.
Right.
Great idea, but you got to have some balanced views in there. Like you got to be able to say, okay, I don't agree with this. You can have that view, and that's fine.
Right.
But that's not what's occurring. It's y'all. We screamed at the sky, and that was fine. But y'all just going to have to live with it.
Well, no surprise
Sorry
there,
about
right? You. At least they're consistent, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're predictable.
Touché.
That's they're predictable. That's the one good thing about it is, they're predictable with this stuff. And regardless of who wins the presidency, I think you're going to see more of this. And and it's going to be on both sides of the aisle. It's happening all over, and it's really not right. But it's more predictable. It's just happens. So
it does, but it is what it is, and if Biden's president, great. It's going to take him more than 4 years to turn us into a socialistic society. So good luck to him. Good luck, and just so we are all clear, I'm a Texas native. So when they secede from the union, should they do it? Guess where I'm going? I'm going home. Just so we're clear.
Where you have stake.
I have stake and I have rights. So
for now,
we'll go home for now.
Yeah.
For a little while.
All right. What's this next thing we got here? We're naming the new drug, huh?
Well, I'm trying to still wrap my brain around what this is. So there is the FDA has granted some sort of emergency authorization to a new treatment for patients with COVID-19 coronavirus infections as of this week. And let's get a timeline of this week. It was literally this week. It was the 10th, and I think today is the 10th. And so I am not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not any of those things. I got out of the medical field 20 some years ago for good reason. But they have this drug that's out there to, some sort of antibody therapy for mild to moderate infections for patients over 12.
Mm-hmm.
Now, can you see the name of that drug?
Can you read it for me? Because I don't even know how to say that.
Do you know the song Black Betty by Ram Jam?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so
here's the one here that shows it here.
Yeah. So if you see that, God, I don't want to sing because I don't have the voice for that right now. I probably need a few more shots of something. But
Bam, Lan, and
Bam, Lam, Bam. Oh my God. Bam, Lam, Bam, Lan, Vim, Bam. Bam. Nope, I can't do it. I quit.
Nope. How do they name drugs anyhow? I mean, do they just pick some stuff out of random jars and then they string them together, or do they throw stuff against a wall and see what falls off? Or I mean, what do you think their process is there?
This is why I'm not in the medical field. If I could have understood it, I would have stayed with it. But
I mean,
Bam Lam of
I can't say half the stuff that the doctors
I can't even sing it in the song now. But so the internet had some fun with this. They're like, hey, congrats to David Lee Roth for winning the Eli Lilly's Name Our COVID-19 Drug Contest. And Black Betty came up, and then one of Missy Elliott's songs, the Put My Thing Down, Flip It in Reverse It. Like, apparently this is some of the wordage, and if you turn it backwards, I don't know, but I thought this was funny. It's like, why not just call it anti-COVID?
Yeah.
Simple. We all know what that means.
Yep.
But
the anti-COVID.
That would have been so much easier.
Yeah.
But I looked at this for probably several minutes today thinking, I mean, I can hear the song in my head. I can hear Black Betty. But if I attempt it, I've tricked my brain and just no.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I don't know if this is like the vaccine that they're talking about. It looks like this is a treatment for when you have the virus, is what I'm getting.
Well, dollars to donuts, it's probably not going to be called that when it actually comes out. I get you. I bet FDA is going to change that name at some point.
I don't know. I think they might go with it and see what happens.
Because that would be so 2020, right?
Okay, what isn't 2020? I mean, we lost Bond, James Bond.
Yep.
He's gone. You can't.
Sean Connery.
I mean, that was,
yeah.
Man, if I was into older men, that would be the guy I would go after.
Yeah. No more Russian submarine captains with a Scottish accent.
Oh, I just saw that movie for the first time this year. Oh,
it's a classic.
It's a great movie. It's awesome.
All right, let's move on. Let's do the career workout.
It's time to work that career and lift and push and lift and push. You got it. Now harder. Lift and push. It's the career workout.
I like the little songs in between.
Yeah, they're kind of fun, aren't they? So groupthink.
Groupthink. You know what this is, Chris?
I am pretty sure I know what this is.
I've seen you experience this from the annoying side of things, such as I do.
So I'm trying to not think about groupthink because it makes me groupy and anxious, and
it makes us where we have anxiety and depression, and we have issues when we go into groupthink. So I just recently joined Parler, right? And so on Parler, I can post some stuff before people find me on there and decide that I'm not what they want to have around them. So I have time to get
unfriend.
I have time to get some stuff off my chest before I'm discovered. And so I've been experiencing this over and over. It's a major cultural trend right now is groupthink. So what this is, if you're not familiar with it, it's where somebody puts out an idea and then everybody starts thinking the same. And it's almost like cult activity. Like we all believe the same thing. You guys all love Kool-Aid. We love Kool-Aid type of, it's almost like brainwashing until you have somebody like, me who comes along, because this is what I posted on Parler. It's like, I don't do groupthink. If I hear something and I think it's worthwhile to express my opinion because I think it's going to add value, you're going to hear me talk and you may not like me. And I'm okay with that. I've been unpopular and unliked plenty in my life. So this isn't gonna, that doesn't hurt me a bit. And so, and I can give you a couple examples, but one occurred actually just today where there was an email amongst a group of us who were trying to make a decision about an event coming up. And somebody said, hey, I need some help with this. And I looked at him like, well, I can help you with that, but I don't think that's like, we need to do something other than that event. So let's switch it up because that's really dry. It's just not good material. So before, everybody was fine with it. Nobody wanted to argue with it. Nobody wanted to check it. And then I said, no, I think maybe we ought to reconsider. Well, then everybody else immediately chimed in. Oh my God, yeah, I totally agree with that. I totally agree too. I do too. We should use something else. And it's like, does anybody think for themselves? I know you can. I know you can think for yourselves, not talk.
Yeah.
So groupthink, it can be, to me, it can be really super dangerous when you don't feel like you can speak up. Then you lose a lot of opportunity. You can get into a lot of trouble. And so some of the symptoms of groupthink, as this article kind of goes into, you'll self-censorship, which is exactly what I just described, is when you kind of shut yourself down, you go with the flow, you don't speak your mind, whatever everybody else thinks, you're going to go with that because you don't want to interrupt the status quo. You don't want to challenge anybody.
Right.
Collective rationalization.
There you go.
Oh my gosh,
that was a lot.
That's
a $5 word right there.
My word. Oh goodness. So this is where, just as it says, the team members won't reconsider their beliefs. They just kind of, again, they just keep going with the flow, and they won't actually say, I don't agree with that, because they're afraid of everybody saying, oh my God, why are you causing a problem? Why are you being a pain? Why do you have to be like that?
Mm-hmm.
Unquestioned beliefs, direct pressure, stereotyping, illusions of invulnerability. So it's basically, we just see everybody constantly following the leader. And
Mm-hmm.
the leader, not all leaders are right. They're not all going to be spot on. And I know I've had my best leaders are the ones who say, if I'm wrong, stop me. Tell me that you see something and let's get it fixed,
Right.
versus I am your leader, you'll do as I say.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how groupthink gets started. Groupthink also leads to a really bad type of cultural phenomenon known as tyrannical mom effect. And that's where everybody's afraid to speak up because they don't want the backlash or the retaliation that goes along with it. So it's just, I'm seeing this a lot more in places, especially when you have certain groups coming up, groups that are supposed to be very accepting and tolerant of behaviors, they're, or safe spaces. That's,
I want a safe space.
there is no such thing, Chris. If you want a safe space, get a panigram. And even then, that's not safe. Just get a panigram in your bed.
I would just be settle for like a yell room at work.
Right?
A place that you can go in and just scream your lungs out.
Bring
and
your
you're
own
like,
pillow to scream
I
into.
feel better. Let's go back to work.
That would be so much more effective than, they have these things called wellness rooms or health rooms or special rooms, or there's all kinds of terminology out there. And those are great. And you should have those places where you can go catnap for 10, 20 minutes to get through your day, because we all have different experiences and different issues. Or if you have to wear masks all day at work and you need a place to go breathe where you don't have to wear the mask, something. But this groupthink thing I'm seeing in droves, and people are afraid to actually speak on their beliefs. And that's really terrifying when you're told you have to accept something, but it goes directly against your personal belief system. And furthermore, you don't think it even belongs at work. And so it's really, that group think is really causing trip hazards everywhere. And I know I've had somebody say, hey, we're part of this group at work. We need you. You're a loud voice. You think well. Come say things at this group. I'm like, nope.
Right.
Just no.
Yeah.
And you don't want my opinion there. But it's a safe space. We both know it's not.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're seeing this on the national level, right? I mean, this is,
everywhere.
Our guy won, so suck it up, right? I think that's a good example of groupthink.
Yep.
Your guy is bad or whatever. And I think you're seeing a lot of examples of that over a lot of different channels. I mean,
well, you saw before the election, there's a fear is a big part of groupthink where, like, the polls were saying Biden's going to win. Granted, he probably did. That's fine, whatever. But people were afraid to say, I'm voting for Trump because of what could happen. I have a couple of friends whose Trump signs were stolen in front of their homes because they were Trump fans. And one guy did catch the person who was stealing his signs, and he was able to confront them. But just that fear factor, the fear of, I can't disagree with you because you're going to go off on me and scream at me. And that's not okay. When you talk about a culture that is all about acceptance and tolerance and love everybody, if you are telling people to suck it up, clearly you're not practicing what you preach.
That's pretty much the opposite, right?
Yeah. So it's like, so this groupthink thing I'm seeing more and more of. Somebody at work had made some comment that they pinpoint me every time we're in meetings together, and they say, oh, Tara's here. We're going to have good conversation. It's like,
the mouth is here. The mouth is going to make this exciting.
That's funny. I've been called that a time or two. And I'm okay with that. I own it. Yeah. I'm fine with it. Because if I'm going to blow hot air, it's going to be worthwhile. So I really feel strongly about this whole groupthink concept. There's nothing wrong with having an opinion and even having the wrong argument on things. There's really nothing wrong with being wrong. I've taught all three of my kids, if you say something, even if you're wrong, say it with confidence. Say it like you mean it. At least be proud of yourself for saying it. Know why you're saying it. If you don't know why you're saying it, you might need to do some more self-exploration, but have your own set of thoughts and be okay to not go with the main flow. There's nothing wrong with being, the little guy on the outside waiting for the soccer ball to get kicked out of the group of kids, hogging it in the middle. Nothing wrong with that at all.
I think this goes down to a culture thing, and it could be a culture at your job or, culture that you live in and, in a larger sense. Right. But, I think a lot of corporate entities, people of corporate jobs, I think fall into groupthink quite easily because, you're just going to be a corporate person. You're going to go the corporate way. And that's very much groupthink. And, that's not always bad, right? Uniformity isn't always bad.
No, that's what wins elections.
Well, but even beyond the elections, I'm talking about, in a business, right?
Right.
That's why McDonald's is so successful, right? I mean, because if you get a burger in San Francisco versus one in Texas or one in Massachusetts, they're all uniform, right? Because they have standards, and so I mean, I think that's an example of groupthink, right? And in that sense, it works,
Right.
But if you're looking for creativity, you're llooking for something different. Groupthink does not work because it stifles that creativity. So, I think it's all in the right context. It's important to understand where you're at. I think the bad part of groupthink is when you have a team or a corporate environment where you're asking people to work together to get things done, and nobody wants to speak up because the corporate culture doesn't encourage that kind of freedom. And that's when I think it can be really toxic.
Yeah, and I think there's a slippery slope there when you try to create that safe space that I know many businesses are trying to do. You still exclude certain groups.
Mm-hmm.
I know there is a big trend with diversity and inclusion across the nation, both at the social and professional levels. But the problem with that is when you are telling people to accept others as they are. That's great. I agree with that. I'm very tolerant of other people. What I have an issue with is when you tell somebody they have to accept somebody despite some of their personal belief systems, which could be deeply rooted in their religious foundations. And you're talking about mental processes and foundational thinking. And that can, when you start telling people that, you start excluding those groups from the main
Mm-hmm.
narrative. And
Yeah,
that's where your fights are going to get really going.
It's important to realize that in the march for inclusivity, you can certainly easily exclude people, especially people with more traditional
Right.
beliefs and views. And when I say traditional, I don't mean that traditional is right.
No, but those views are out there though, and
right.
you're just going to have to be tolerant. There's some things that, we live in a free country, and that parts of the freedom is not all good. It's good, bad, and ugly. There's a reason for that. So this is going to sound terrible, and I'm going to get some hate mail, and that's okay. But there are going to be racist people. We don't have a racist culture. We have racist people out there.
Mm-hmm.
There may be some subcultures out there that are racist, but overall, it's not acceptable to be racist. It just is not, but people still can be. Now, are they going to come out and say something about it? Probably not, because they'll probably get whooped up on. Like they're going to get outed, and
Sure.
there is a consequence to pay for that belief, at least at the social level. So you're just going to, if you're going to be accepting, you're going to have to accept the good, the bad, and the ugly of all forms of people and all types of people.
Mm-hmm.
We're not all going to be one with this. I think what we're trying to do is people want everybody to be in this one gray blob of stuff.
Right.
And that's not
very
what
exciting.
it is.
But I think you can go
not
too
very
much the
exciting.
other way, right? Because there's a certain amount of groupthink that's required for a team to be cohesive, right?
Well, there's to a
I mean,
point.
you can go completely the other way. If you have a team of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people, and they're all going to do their things their own way, you're not going to get anything done.
Right.
So you need a certain amount of groupthink in order to have a cohesive team.
Yeah.
But you don't want to have so much of it that you are stifling the creativity that the team has. And it also is, I think, demoralizing, right? So I think you run a very fine balance of, what makes sense, what doesn't make sense,
Right.
It's certainly something that takes some finessing, I think.
Well, that's where one of my favorite things is agree to disagree.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've pointed out to a few people who are proud of, fighting with somebody. I'm like, you understand what fighting is, right? It's literally the agreement to have a fight. You're literally agreeing to fight with one another. So if you just agree to disagree, you can avoid all the negative ramifications of fighting with somebody. And there's nothing wrong with disagreeing.
So let's quickly go over some of the remedies here that it has. The first one is cultivating a sharing environment.
Mm-hmm.
The second one is evaluate your communication style.
That's huge.
Third is embrace both sides of an argument, which is really hard right now. So everybody needs to work on that.
Tolerate both sides of an argument. Tolerate it. Don't have to embrace it. Just tolerate it.
Don't be the tolerant people. Yeah. However you say that. The next one is allow enough time for decision making.
Mm-hmm.
And then the next one is continue to question.
So, I love that.
Yeah,
I like
so
that a lot.
I think that's really good. stuff right there.
I do too.
So,
that's why I brought it up, because I'm seeing a lot of it, and it's groupthink is dangerous if you're not careful with it. It's where we're at now, where you get one person decides, I'm going to protest. What are you protesting about? I don't know, but I'm upset, so I'm protesting. Yeah, let's go protest with you.
Yeah. We'll
It's
protest.
the
What are you
sheeple
protesting? I don't
mentality.
know. We're just here.
We're just here. We were told to be here,
Yeah.
so we're here. Let's do something. Let's take a TV.
Well, I protest that we do the career fail.
You protest at it or protest for it?
I'm protesting that we do it.
Go for it.
Career fail of the week.
So you got don't do this, but then there's no link. So
there is a link. I put the
is?
link in there.
Oh, I don't see one. So you're
Is it
going to have
not
to just
there?
tell us what it is.
Hold on. Let me pull that link. Gosh darn it. Yeah, it's there.
Am I just
Oh, this. Did I? Hold on. Maybe
this is a career fail, people.
right. So
because
you're
we are
saying
live,
don't do.
and when you do things live, things mess up. And
oh my
so
gosh, that's so funny.
that's just how this rolls. You're going to have a
It
little
is how it
bump every
rolls.
now and then.
And that's good. We're genuine that way, Chris. That's what
We
makes
are
us genuine.
very transparent.
Very much so.
We do make mistakes.
So let me see if this will work real quick, and I'll try it again, because it's showing up on mine, but clearly not on yours.
Just tell us about it.
So what this is I heard a conversation this week, and if any of these people listen to me, they're going to hate me, and that's okay. The mask thing is becoming quite the big trend. I say trend, it's the word I'm going to use. I realize that's not the appropriate word, but that's my perspective. So a lot of businesses are going with the whole let's wear a mask every day, all day at work. Which, by the way, if you've been listening to the show, you already know I'm not a big fan of wearing the mask. I'm a big fan of choosing to wear a mask or not being forced into it. But
right.
So I have not been wearing a mask. It had not been required at my work up until I started this new role. Now it's required all day, every day. Even when we're sitting at our desks, we have to wear it. So it doesn't matter if we've got a partition between us and the person that's within 6 feet, we still have to wear the mask. Okay, great, fine. So during this conversation about, wearing masks all the time, there was a subsequent conversation that eventually occurred to say, I don't mind wearing the mask because that means I only have to do half my makeup now. And I kind of looked and I thought, what? And this person said, well, yeah, I just do makeup from my eyes up now. And somebody else is like, well, when I'm going to the store, I don't even have to wear like my eye makeup to the store anymore. So like the expectations are dropping. And I thought, expectations? And I kind of looked and like, you guys aren't just wearing makeup just for yourself? They're like, no, we're wearing it because everybody expects us to.
Right.
And I had to step back. I'm like, oh, I'm not part of this. You guys don't want me here. We don't. And they're like, well, why do you wear makeup? I'm like, well, that's kind of my pamper time in the morning. Like for 20, 30 minutes, I get to kind of take care of myself. This is fun for me. This is art and this is a good time. They're like, really? Because we hate doing it. I'm like, then why do you do it? Why do you do it at all?
Yeah.
Like, because we're supposed to. So on behalf of every woman out there, no, you don't have to wear makeup. I know that there have been some women who have been bullied by other women to wear makeup, and I've heard a couple of horror stories, but in the end, those women still don't wear makeup. And if it's your thing, great. If it's not, don't wear it. I remember I was part of an orientation, and Chris, you'll know what I'm talking about because I think you were there. And the speaker was talking about the do's and don'ts at work. Like, here's how you dress for work. And this is why you dress this way for work. And because in this organization, it's a little different in all the departments. And it come up to makeup. And it's like, if you wear makeup, and this person did not say, if you girls wear makeup, it was said, if you wear makeup, the less is more. So one guy turned, and this guy had to be in his late 50s, early 60s. And he's like, is anybody else offended by that? I was like, why do you wear makeup? And this, like, is this like a personal attack against you or something? And it kind of looked at me like, what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, well, you kind of brought it up. So, but if you feel like you're expected to wear makeup at work, I'll tell you right now, you guys don't care. I haven't met a guy yet. I told somebody I was going to get some new lash extensions because I'm tired of wearing mascara. And somebody's like, you wear mascara? Like, what? Yeah. I'm like, I wear like 6 layers of it. And he's like, never noticed. No clue. I was like, oh my God, I can tell.
Well, I think it depends on, the industry that you're in and, if you're client facing or not. I think that has something big to do with it. I mean, have you ever been into the air traffic control centers where the people on the radios are actually sitting?
Just what TV showed me.
So when you go to an actual air traffic control facility where the radar, people watching the radar scopes are, You walk around and you realize, like, man, they're in like t-shirts and shorts and sweatpants, and nobody's got
There's
a
no
dress
reason to
shirt
dress
on
up.
because nobody sees them. They just talk
Right.
on the radio, so there's no reason for them to dress up.
Right.
So I think it just you need to be just cognizant of what your what's your real role, and what sort
Well,
of image do you need to project.
Well, it's like that personal brand conversation we had a couple weeks
Mm-hmm.
ago. If you are dressing for the part, and I've seen some women who are in higher positions that wear barely any makeup, if any at all, but they
Mm-hmm.
do their hair. Their hair is brushed and
Right.
combed. They're nicely neat looking clothing, so they're not coming in sweatpants to their, C-suite roles. They are trying to dress for the part, but that doesn't mean you have to wear. My makeup is it kind of looks glamorous. It kind of looks like it's a high dramatic. It's really not. It's much more natural than that. But that's just my thing. That's what I want to do. And Lord knows if somebody said, I expect you to wear makeup, that's probably the day I'm going to stop wearing it
Mm-hmm.
just because. But I've been in roles, like you said, where I was out in the elements every single day, the extraordinary heat, the bitter cold. So it's like, I'm not wearing makeup. There's no
Yeah.
way I'm going to sweat it all off anyway,
Mm-hmm.
which is funny because the boss I was working for at that job, we became coworkers at my next job. And so I did myself up every day. And he's like, why can't you look like that working for me? It's like, because I was outside in the rain and the snow
Mm-hmm.
and the cold. So I
Context,
just,
people, context.
yes. And he was like, "Ugh, I didn't know you could look like that." I'm like, I don't know if to be sexually harassed here or not, or what's happening. Are we dating now? I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
God, I hope he's listening because that would crack me up if he heard that right now. He'd be so embarrassed. So it's just, don't feel like you have to wear makeup to get ahead. Don't feel like you have to be doing something for those around you. There's
Mm-hmm.
plenty of successful women out there who do not, their culture won't allow them to wear makeup. The former Pepsi Cola CEO is one of those women who was just not big into makeup because she came from India. So
Mm-hmm.
that just was not her thing. Her thing was to walk at home in the hallways. That was her thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things where I know a lot of women feel like they have to do something because of gender stereotypes. The more you focus on those type of things, the more you believe it. So if you don't want to wear makeup to work, then just don't. If you want to mix it up where some days you do and some days you don't. The building I work in, it's dress for your day. So if you're going to be facing customers and you feel like your
Mm-hmm.
customer prefers that completely, finished look, then do that. If
Right.
not, don't. Just
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, it can be hard though if you don't know if you're gonna have a customer walk in at any time. But certainly, dress appropriately makes a lot of sense if your job allows that.
well, don't feel like you have to do something because you're a guy or a girl. It's just like guys shouldn't. There's guys that work there now sporting the longer beards.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of them. Lord knows I will tug on the first one I get close enough to just to tug on it. But
That
guys don't.
sounds inappropriate.
I don't
Just
care.
FYI,
I don't
I do
care.
not endorse that behavior.
See what I say? You don't
Mm-hmm.
know. Yes, I can. No, never
No,
mind.
just no.
Then don't grow your
Stop it.
facial hair out long.
I'm not.
I know. But for those like when Bo used to wear his chin hair a lot longer, and I started pulling
Mm-hmm.
on it. He's like, "Do you not like that?" I'm like, "I'm just saying, it's there. I'm gonna tug on it." So he's learning to trim it up so I can't grab it.
Nice.
I mean, whatever. So that's the thing is, it's really upsetting to hear women say, "I feel like I have to."
Mm-hmm.
Stand your ground, know why you're doing something, just know your why. If you're like, I know why I do it, it's because it's my pamper time, it's my thing. I
Mm-hmm.
worry if I'm going out the house or not. That is literally my me time.
Yeah.
So if that's your me time, great. Otherwise, yeah, just take care of you the way you take care of you. Present yourself the way you respect yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you need. That's what guys see, and I think that's what some of these women are looking at is, I want guys to respect me. Trust me, you wear makeup is not what guys are respecting. If you respect yourself, that's what I have noticed amongst my
Yeah.
male colleagues and my male friends. The more I respect myself, regardless of how I look, the more they respect me.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I think women really have got to get a grasp on, is just show some self-respect, and you can leave the mascara at home. The eyelash extensions are easier anyway, so
All right, good point. Let's do the IT corner.
IT corner.
Let's talk tech. You're in the IT corner.
All right, so I haven't bought this exact one yet, but I've bought 3 others for it at work that were really similar from the same
I was
company.
gonna say
So
that looks familiar.
I'm assuming it's going to be about the same thing. But what this is a TV cart for your TV. So it makes it so you can roll your TV around. And we use them at work to go between meeting rooms.
Right.
And I have one in my office that works really good because you can kind of put it up in the corner, and you can mount the TV up high without having to put any big holes in the wall, that kind of thing, which makes it really nice. So, but what's nice about this one is it actually has two different shelves on it, so you can put
Yeah.
a keyboard on one shelf and a computer on the other. So or different. If you want to put books on one shelf and a monitor on the other or something, it gives you a little more flexibility because most of these monitors mounts like this just come with one shelf. So
Yeah.
I found one that comes with two, which I thought was pretty cool. And it's $90. It's pretty cheap. But this will hold it, up to a 70-inch TV very
Wow.
firmly without having to worry about it falling over. It's all metal, that kind of thing. So I'm gonna try it out for my new place and see how I
Are
like it.
you? Where
But
you
I'm
put
actually
it?
gonna use this a little bit differently for a TV studio. So I'm gonna have a preview screen on where the monitor is supposed to mount, and then I'm gonna mount my cameras and all that stuff on the shelves
Nice.
there. So when the new studio gets built, this I think is going to be kind of an important centerpiece to it.
That'll be awesome. You'll have to let
Yeah,
me
it
know how
should
that
be
works
fun.
out.
So I was also thinking I could use one of these in front of my bike. When I'm
Uh,
doing stationary bike stuff, you can
yep.
kind of set this thing in front of it, so you'll have your TV, and then you'll actually have some place that you can put your phone and all that other stuff that's usually hard
Mhm.
to you know place when you're on the bike and there's nowhere to put anything. So
Well, they've got the little. I've got something for mine. It came with it, but I think the person I bought my bike from had that in there. But that would be
hmm
nice too. It'd be nice to be able to roll that TV around, get it to
yeah,
where you want it, so that you can do what you need to do
definitely.
where you want to do. But that's not a bad idea, and it's 70 inches. That's huge.
Yeah, that's a big TV.
Okay.
So this one fits 37 to 70 inches. So it's a
Oh,
pretty
wow.
heavy duty unit. They
Yeah,
have
it is.
a little bit smaller one that's up to 55-inch TVs, but with this sort of thing, I figure it's better to buy probably one size up. And that way, if I
Yeah,
ever want to put a bigger TV on it, it's ready to
and you
go.
will. You will.
So, all right, on to Media Madness.
Welcome to Media Madness.
What do we have for the Media Madness?
Who's first? You or me?
Well, I think ladies always go first, right?
Oh my. Well, so if if you had read the little advertisements I did prior to today, you knew I was doing something creepy again. So last week I talked about Podcast. It's this new producer of podcasts, and because in doing a podcast, I've gotten into podcasts. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I have some macabre interests sometimes, and abnormal psychology is one of them. And if you know me, that's really not a surprise. So last week I talked about unsolved mysteries because I love the idea of nonfiction stuff. Um, so this week, the other podcast by Parcast that I am somewhat addicted to is
Mm-hmm.
serial killers.
Mm.
And so yeah, I have some conversations with some of my friends about serial killers, and said this was a really interesting one to get into. Now, I'm not going to say that they're totally on point with all the entire story from point A to point B. They
Mm-hmm.
do get into some of the psychology with some of this stuff. I don't always agree with the psychology either, but it's really neat to hear different perspectives of how other people are viewing these crazy people who do these crazy things. But when you get into some of the background of some of these serial killers, so if you're familiar with Jeffrey Dahmer, that's one I'm listening to. It's one of the old podcasts from late last year, but because they won't have anything, I won't get my next episode till tomorrow, so I have to fill the time and space with something. So in listening, you get to hear the background story on some of these guys and some of these people. I should say people, because there's women serial killers too. But it's kind of one of those things, where you're like, oh, that's why they did the stuff they did. Like you get to hear the why behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously I'm really interested in that. And it's very addictive because it's not like you feel sorry for them because you can't justify their actions. You
Mm-hmm.
really can't justify the bad things that people do, but you can explain them. And there's a very big difference between those two ideas, is justification and explanation.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so hearing some of the stuff that you hear, I remember Jeffrey Dahmer as a kid when he hit the news back in the early '90s, and you just heard the really macabre side to him. You didn't get to hear the backstory, and as a kid, you probably didn't get to see all the news about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to hear more of the background story on that one. Jack the Ripper is another one that's on this series that they do. Just all kinds guys I've never heard of, guys from I think there was the Vampire Dusseldorf, which really caught my attention because I didn't realize there was somebody that earned the name vampire for obvious reasons. So I thought this was interesting. It's just if you're into abnormal psychology, because I love the psyche and the human brain and the things we do and don't know about it, this has been a real pull in. Now I can't listen to it at home by myself because I
Could you get freaked out?
I do, and especially after recent events, I get even more freaked out. So I only listen to it in the car when I'm driving to and from work, which is probably not the way to psych up or psych down from work. But it's a really great one. Now the thing to it is if you're there's two types of people in the world. There's the fair-minded and weak-minded. If you're a weak-minded person, you'll really get into the way that they tell these stories. They really use their voices super well to really draw you in and kind of get your emotions the way they want you to get them. And I'm sitting here like, gag me, just get to the facts. Like, I don't want to hear all the emotions behind it. Just tell me the facts. So it's just fun to listen to. They kind of make it sound like that. They add that old twist of radio to it with just that real active voice play. So it's just really interesting.
Cool.
Yeah. Should check it out. What have you got?
I have something a little lighter than that.
I mean, you can't go lighter. What the crap, man?
Do you remember, did you ever watch Top Gear?
Top Gear.
It's a British BBC show that ran for ever, like almost 20 years, I think.
Well,
maybe not that long.
I didn't hear about it, but
21 seasons is what it says here. So
wow.
it ran for a long time. But Top Gear was a show with three British guys. You have Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, and James May. And it's a car show. So they review cars, they take them on test drives, they go on trips with them, they do all sorts of fun stuff, right? And so this show is the same. It's just basically reruns from that series, but it's called Top Gear, Ambitious but Rubbish. And if you ever watch Top Gear, you know that they're kind of, it's sort of very, very much Top Gear lingo, because these guys are, the dynamic that they have together is just awesome. It's special. But they're, typical three older guys that are kind of, ribbing each other constantly, but what this show is about is it's occasionally during those episodes, they would have an episode where a segment of it was they would take cars and they would build them and do something crazy with them. Right. So, one episode, they took cars and they turned them into RVs. They took ordinary cars and built stuff on top of them to make them ordinary RVs. And so each one of them got a car, modified it, and they all have different personalities. So each car came out crazily different, They did one of these where they jumped a car off of a ski slope.
Oh my God.
And that was like with rockets and everything. They did another one with rockets where they launched a car like on a rocket. It was crazy, And then they did one episode where they took and they built trains out of cars. They basically took the wheels off the cars and put train wheels on them.
Right.
So anyhow, they did some really pretty fun to watch stuff. And, being an engineer, I kind of like that kind of tinkering and, like that kind of stuff. So it was really fun to watch. But in all of these shows, what's really funny about it or fun about it is, there's the whole build up like, oh, we're going to do this and it's going to be great. And then they'll do it.
Here, hold
like,
my beer.
I don't think that's really going to work, and then it'll fail spectacularly and they'll make up some, saying about how it was awesome, So, I mean, it's just good entertainment, but,
that's awesome.
And it's kind of fun too, because the show has run for so long. You get to kind of see these guys, kind of gradually age, right? So some of these shows are from back in the beginning, and you can see them when they're younger, so it's really kind of fun to see that too. So
that's awesome.
But yeah, if you're looking for just a good kind of lighthearted, gonna have a little bit of a laugh watching some cars do some fun stuff, then this is a good show.
That's a good one for you. There you go.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, any closing thoughts?
All kinds. I mean,
all kinds.
No, I like this though. I like being on the air. I don't know who's watching us because I had to turn off my Facebook, so I was getting a lot of feedback on my phone.
Yeah. So we do have the ability on our interface here to see comments. So if you're watching live on Facebook, then you can write in the comments there and we'll see it. And somehow I think we can even post your comment on the screen. So you're more than welcome to interact with us while we're doing this. And of course, we are streaming this live right now, but we are going to post this on the podcast, like we normally would do. So that's not going away at all. So you can still listen wherever you listen to all your other podcasts. You can still listen to the show. And we'd love to have you watch us live or listen to us on the podcast, whatever works best for you. And so we definitely would love to hear from you. Send us some comments on Facebook, or you can send us an email.
I got a comment right now her name is Charlene Bruner on Facebook, but I know her as Chuck.
Okay.
She's got a story too. It's a good story, but I'm not going to share that just today. I'll have to get her permission first. But if you're still listening, Chuck, I'm glad you said something. It's been forever since I've seen you. So thank you for speaking up. Now, who else should be speaking up right now? Oh, wait, there may be a few more. Hold on, I'm trying to check it. That's too loud. I need to figure out a way to. Can you monitor you can see the Facebook post right now, can't you?
Well, supposedly, but I don't see a comment come up here, so I don't know if we've figured it out here.
I'm silent. Let's see if I can. Maybe that'll help. If I go silent. Nope. No. Yes, oh yeah. I can see the Facebook. Hold on. Okay, muted it there. There's a whole bunch of comments. Hold on.
We're still figuring this out.
We are. So Dustin and Robin. Hey, Robin's my cousin. Dustin's my buddy. And Sarah. Sarah and I used to work together. Thank you guys. That's awesome. Hey, there's my sister, Marley. If you're still listening, I bet she was a little brat and jumped off. No one's heard those words before. Some of these people do know us. Self-control. Oh my goodness, this is funny. There's thank you. Dustin just said, great cast. Why haven't I seen this before? Because you haven't. We just started live doing this. Live streaming. That's what it is. We need to play What's in the Cup, apparently. But yeah, that's awesome, guys. That is cool. We need more. You guys need to speak up more. Get more involved.
Maura said, for the record, I refuse to take my flag down. So we thank you for that, Maura. Maura from
Hi, Maura.
Yeah, awesome.
That is awesome. So hopefully, and Jason, hi, Jason. You were supposed to be watching this entire time. You better have been watching the entire time. And we'll get you tomorrow when I see you. So hopefully we can get this figured out where we can actually interact with you guys. At some point, it'd be really cool to try and hi, Amity. Hopefully it would be cool really to interact either through comments or through phone calls or somehow and get the audience engaged, because it'd be really neat to hear some other perspectives and views on some of the stuff that we talk about, and maybe hear that we're wrong once in a while, because right now we're always right, you know.
Yeah, we're right until you tell us we're wrong.
That's right. So
and then you're wrong.
Well, yeah, there. See?
Right?
Because that's how society works.
We can be like Whoopi.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
Suck it up, Buttercup.
Suck it up.
Yeah.
So if you got any good drink ideas, because I'll take in some of those. I'm the drinker between the two of us, so I'm just saying.
I think that's a little bit one-sided donation there.
Jason, you just found it. Jason just found how did he just find that? Jason, I posted. It's been posted. You're lazy. You should have seen it sooner. Oh, it looks like we can actually bring him on camera. Did you see that? Can you see the comments? It says we can bring him on camera. Should I click it and see what happens?
See what happens.
Let's add. She asked for it. Just saying. She better still be there so I can get her. We might be sorry because I know how her mouth works. Sue.
This is mostly family friendly.
No, it's not.
We try. The left half is family friendly. Not vouching for the right half.
The right half is whiskey friendly. How about that? So I'm trying to figure out, their friends won't be able to watch this unless they're selecting your audience. I don't know how to select them in the audience. We're going to work with this.
We'll figure it out.
Robin,
yeah, definitely send us an email, leave us some comments. We'd love to hear from you. And let us know what you want to hear on the show, because, you know, we just kind of put on what we think is cool, but we definitely want to know what you're thinking and what you'd like to learn more about. So definitely do that. If you want to see any of the links from the show, we'll post them in the comments, a link to it. But our show notes are on our website at bizandmayhem.com. That's bizandmayhem.com. So just head on over to businessmayhem.com, look for episode 17, and you'll have a list of all the links from this show. And as always, have fun in the mayhem. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
The Biz and Mayhem podcast is produced by Check 6 Creative Studio. If you have a podcast or been wanting to start one, let us know. We'd love to help you produce and edit your podcast. We'd also love to work with your business on marketing and video production. Visit us on the web at check6studio.com. That's CheckSixstudio.com. Let us know you heard about us on the Biz and Mayhem podcast.